Good morning to you all. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Saturday morning chat with the Bearded Welshman. Getting a little late start. Had some things to do. I'm smoking some fireside. I was going to do something different, something interesting, something that I can talk about. And I thought, no, there's enough people that do that, and they do it better than me, and they do it well. And sometimes getting back to the basics is important. This is my first smoke of the day. My fireside, or as you'll call it, Lane 1Q. I bought bulk this time because unfortunately it was cheaper per ounce than my brick and mortar. So Mark, I love these Tobacco Pipes International. Love them. And I know what you're saying. I don't want to wear that down. So probably eventually this is going to become a conversation piece. I'll buy one off you. One light. No coffee because I already had breakfast. Cleaned my Zippo. That's as clean as I can get it. There's that much. Now, the Zippo was used many times by Preacher Man Piper. I had a black one like this and a silver one he sent me. Okay, this is one of the ones he sent me. And a silver one, and my black one I passed on to a brand new pipe smoker because I wanted him to have the proper. And look, when you clean it, one strike. Thank you, Briar Blade, LaDon Mott, and Preacher Man Piper Doc for reaffirming how to clean those. A little rubbing alcohol, toothbrush, little elbow grease. Dry them off. Dry before you light them. So, we got an early start this morning. Wife wanted to get to Walmart before it started getting too crowded. And then we decided to make a side stop to a thrift store because I'm looking for the perfect recliner for the Bearded Welshman's study. I have a chair in there now. It's comfortable. I'll probably give that to my son who has an apartment. And I'm just looking for the perfect recliner I can lay back. It's going to be big enough for me and Merle. Because he'll get about 50 pounds when Merle wants to sit and we can take a nap. We can do things together. Looks like I'm going to have to buy brand new. Basics. Getting back to your roots. Camo. Beard. That's who I am. Cane Rod Piper's live stream last night. Thank you for those of you that joined. I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate those of you that subbed me. Thank you, new subbers. I subbed every one of you back. Because that's how we do it in the YTPC. That's how we roll, baby. That's how we roll. And he paid me a compliment. Something I wasn't thinking of. And I just figured something out here, folks. And he said, I went and watched your first video, your very first video, which is got over 800 views by now, I think. Who I am and why I'm here. And he said you hadn't changed. That is a compliment. Thank you, Mike. I was getting a bit concerned that I changed. The only thing that changed is I grew my hair back, folks. And I grew my beard back out. Nice little surprise, I just realized. Now, I showed you all this. And I said I was going to build shelves for it. And I happened to look. Because, you know, I'm an attention to detail kind of guy. You know, it's sarcasm. Excuse the noise. And I found I don't have to do much work. I just happened to notice that. I'm all excited. So, anyhow, ADD, not to get off track. So, as you watch the show, I can't be on here too long because we have to take Merle up to Tractor Supply and get his 12-week shots. So, we stop at a thrift shop. I will drink some water. And we see some books. And I collect Bibles, as you know. I don't care what the Bible is, I collect it. I'm not really a pipe collector. I smoke what I get. I collect Bibles. I guess you could say I collect cowboy boots. I collect baseball hats. More than my wife likes. I collect amongst a lot of things. But I found this book called, by Bernard Bailyn, To Begin a World Anew. It's like a brand new book, folks. Okay? And I'm just going to read a little bit of what it's about. It's the real history behind. This man is regarded as one of the, to quote the Los Angeles Times, one of America's most discerning historians. His thinking is subtle, his style is forceful. Throughout, he retains a sense of wonder that most men in a clump of distant British province could have wrought a political system, a view of the world that is so imaginative and endearing. So, another thing from the New York Book Review, seldom have the American founders been celebrated with such depth and sophistication. This guy's a two-time Pulitzer Prize winning historian, and he knows his stuff, okay? What these kids are learning in school today are not. This takes you from the beginnings of the revolution. Oh, I didn't notice this. This was a Social Studies Award from 2004 to 2005. And it looks like they gave this to the teacher. When students wrote, or they gave it to the students, or students wrote a note or something, I don't know. Okay. So, a little bit about this book. The opening essay illuminates the central importance of America's provincialism to the formation of a truly original political system. In the chapters following, he explores the ambiguities and achievements of Jefferson's career, Benjamin Franklin's changing image, and the supple diplomacy, the circumstances, and the impact of the Federalist Papers. Anybody under the age of 50, do you know what the Federalist Papers are? We had to study them. And the continuing influence of American constitutional thought throughout the Atlantic world to begin the world anew enlivens our appreciation of how America came to be and deepens our understanding of the men who created it. So, I'm excited. Another little read. I'm going to get to it. Hey, look, it even has pictures. People joke around I don't read right. So, anyhow. So I collect Bibles. So the first Bible I ever knew was one that my dad was reading every day when he came to his Conversion to Christ, I call it. And this is what he had, the Living Bible paraphrase. This is what he was given. This is all he had. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, this is terrible. It's not a good translation, blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the deal, folks. When I study, I use different versions. I look at different things. And I look at how they word things. But the binding and everything is just phenomenal in this book. My dad's, I should have brought it out, is just so well read, used, highlighted, notes. I look at his notes, his thoughts he wrote in here. What? You wrote in the Bible? You can do that. I mean, come on, folks. He highlighted things. He wrote notes, things that stood out to him. He studied a lot, and then he graduated to different versions, and you know, it's one of my prized possessions, his book. But I don't like to open it up and use it as a study to use as a cross study, because I'll look at the different versions and see what they have to say, because I'm so afraid of ruining the book because my dad used it so much. So I got that. That was free at the thrift store. Free. Now, I bought this book a while ago, and a lot of people say the Good News Translation, that's a terrible translation. Look, some of the closest translations and some of the best translations, in my opinion, I started out with the NIV, ESV, and the NASB, New American Standard, and the English Standard, okay? Psalms is hard to understand, okay? So I got this book a while ago. It's called Psalms, a Good News Translation. A large print, of course, because old Johnny boy has a hard time seeing sometimes. So let me explain this book to you, and this is why I don't have a problem looking at different translations, because they can be helpful. The translation of the Psalms attempts to represent the meaning of the Hebrew text as faithfully as possible, and at the same time convey something of the grace and beauty of the original poetry. Okay, so poetry today is rhyme and time and rhythm and bum 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 bum, and rap music came out of that. Okay, Hebraic poetry and the poetry of that time, it's a totally different concept. We will not get into that. That is deeper teaching. I don't want to get into that. And the beauty of the original poetry. The basic poetic structure of the Psalms consists of a statement which is repeated in a modified fashion in the next line. Sometimes this parallelism is continued over several lines. The possible variations are almost unlimited, and the reader who is aware of them will discover new beauty in the Psalms. In addition, unusual words and figurative expressions help create and sustain a poetic atmosphere. Ancient Hebrew poetry did not have rhyme, and the meter was quite different from what is commonly used in English. This translation has been made in free verse, and the translators have tried to put the Psalms in easy-flowing, rhythmical lines that can be effective in public worship as well as private devotion. Okay, so the Good News Translation is a distinctive translation which does not conform to traditional vocabulary or style. It seeks instead to express the meaning of the Hebrew text in words and forms accepted as standard by people everywhere who employ English as a means of communication. Where there is general agreement that the Hebrew text presents unresolved difficulties in interpretation, this translation employs the evidence of other ancient texts or follows present-day scholarly consensus. All such modifications are identified in footnotes. Other footnotes give information designed to help the reader understand the meaning of the text, especially where ancient beliefs or customs are expressed or alluded to. So that's why I have this book, because as a younger man, I was afraid of the Old Testament. Ecclesiastes, Isaiah, and Psalms. Proverbs, not so much. To me, they were hard to understand, you know. So as I go through the book of Psalms and I read it in like my NHB, you know, another good one, another great Bible version, the CSB, the Christian Standard Bible. Okay, um, this, I have a Charles Spurgeon Christian Standard Version Bible that Alistair Begg put together, and it's got Charles Spurgeon's notes in it and his commentary on it. It's a great Bible, expensive, but it's great. So it's okay to use when I study and I put together things for Sunday school if I'm going to teach and or I might preach somewhere. I put things together. I look at different texts and I look at different to get a different viewpoint. Sometimes it helps me understand. One light, folks. One light. Now, the wick you can see is a little too long. I need to cut it down, and I will do that. So that's just my thing. You know, I collect Bibles. I like theology. Theology is the study of God. I like theology. A lot of you know I am of Christian faith. I have a book on the Catholic Bible and why the Catholic Bible is what it is to understand, because Catholic tradition is different than Protestant. Okay, Luther was a Catholic monk, and that's how the Reformation started. Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights guy, the original Martin Luther. And so I read those books not as a learning, oh, this is how it. No. I read them to understand where is Catholicism coming from, why their doctrine, why they believe what they believe. Because there are people that I deal with that are Catholic, and we have discussions on Catholicism versus Protestantism and Reformed theology, and I want to understand. That is the whole point of dialogue. It's a problem we have in this country. We don't have dialogue, and we don't take the time to understand. The Mormons came to my door one day, and I talked to them for a little while, shared my faith, and they carry Book of Mormons with them. I say, hey, can I have a Book of Mormon? It is good to now, to me, the Mormons are a cult. Sorry if I'm offending somebody. To me, they're a cult. So I said, do you have a Book of Mormon? They gave it to me. I said, I just want to read it to understand where you're coming from. So I have a Book of Mormon in my study. I studied world religions in class, and I had a class on world religions. I still study world religions. There are many. There are a lot more than you think there are. There are many. So, those are just some of the things I'm excited about the cabinet now. So I can clean it up, hang it up, and I can use it. I have to show my wife. I'm so excited about it. But I thank you for coming along for this Saturday morning chat. It's going to get put up in the afternoon, and I apologize for that, but I had things to do. I had things to take, family comes first, folks. But thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. Thank you again to all the subs. I appreciate it. Watch next week's. It's going to be good. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be there. And this time I will be chatting because I don't have to talk. So I'll be in the chat room. So until next time, y'all have a good day. It's a beautiful Saturday day. A little cold, but it's beautiful. Be yourself. Don't change who you are. Just be yourself. Thank you, Mike, for pointing that out to me. That was probably the biggest compliment I have gotten ever on my channel. To say that you watched my very first video and you watched my last video and said I haven't really changed much. Folks, I love you. You mean a lot to me. You help me through my days. God bless you. Stay safe. And one more thing. What do we say?